Hey guys, what's up? It's the Breakfast Club. It's Saturday, so here I am. Now, I actually had a whole other video that I was going to be putting up today. Like, it was done and everything. I normally try to have a video recorded, like planned out, and the outline written, and all my notes that I need, and I have it recorded, and then I have it edited, and it's ready to go like Friday night. And I put it up Saturday morning. And I have it all set to go. Like, it's right there in that folder that you can't see because this camera's pointing this way. I was all set to put it up, but then I watched something and I realized that I feel more like saying this than saying the other thing. Maybe I'll put the other one next week. It'll still be relevant. But it's on this weird sort of optimism I see sometimes when people are talking about trying to improve things. I was recently sent, well, it was more shared a video. You know how people share videos with people. And it was on this Israeli comedy show host. I don't know how recent this video is. You know how it is. Sometimes you see a video and you think you're seeing it for the first time. It's been out for a long time or whatever. I don't know how long this has been. But he's basically talking about the state of, Palestinian and Israeli affairs. How, in general, people in Israel are ignoring all the stuff that their government is doing to the Palestinians across the border. Which, that's, a well-known thing around the world. It's a common thing. I mean, if you've been paying attention, you know you know what's going on over there. And if you have a humanitarian bone in your body, you know that what the Israeli government is doing to those people, it's not right. No matter how much they're going to try to, whatever bullshit they're going to try to pull on stating that, oh, well, we're trying to defend ourselves. Yeah, whatever. If you I don't need to get into it because it's going to be a long video. I have to, you know, pay attention to the politics and the policies going on over there. You realize that they're in the wrong. But what caught me was this whole thing about, oh, these people doing this to them, they're going to lose. The government, the extreme right wing, is they're going to lose because they're against reality, they're against the truth. Like, they got all these people living in denial. We're not paying attention to what's going on over there. But as soon as the common citizen finally wakes up to what's going on across the border and faces reality, well, the people causing this situation, they're going to have to lose because you can't beat reality. And when I saw that, I was just like, I don't want to be the downer here. I really don't. Because I understand the reason why you need hope and, optimism when you're trying to deal with a rather, rather negative situation. If you're trying to, go up against something monumental, something deeply ingrained that you know is ultimately harmful for the people at large, you need that drive and that hope to keep you going. Well, at least we're told that, and it's you want to at least have the drive. And many people say that, well, you have to have that optimism. And sometimes they basically say, well, one day we're going to wake up. I mean, they're against reality. The truth will always come out, and then we as human people, human beings, once we see it, once we recognize it, things will change. And I'm like, so far I haven't really seen that to be the case. It doesn't really matter what the issue is. If people want to hold on to a false narrative simply because it makes them feel better, they're not going to let go of it. It's going to take something extreme to make them let go of it. And even then, they might resent you for it. Let me put this another way. Any animal can be trained. In general, I know some people are going to disagree with me in that if they're really, really wild, you can. Yeah, but general, you mistreat an animal long enough, you keep it separate from the world long enough, and you give it a reality that you want it to face. It's not going to adapt to that reality of what it is. We can think of plenty of examples of this, from how we've domesticated certain animals for society to what we do with circus creatures. Chris Rock once made a joke about how, when people were mad at this magician for getting killed by this tiger, and he said, the tiger went crazy. He says, no, it didn't go crazy. It went tiger. Like, when it was crazy was, when they had it doing tricks in the circus. But, okay, you got that one incident of, every now and then we hear this one incident of some wild animal, like, snapping in the middle of a magic show or going nuts in the middle of a circus. And then people are like, wow, this goes to show, how effed up this is, and we can't keep mistreating them. This is going to happen more and more. But think about all the times this doesn't happen. I mean, part of the reason why it's such a big deal that, oh my God, it went wild, isn't just the loss of human life and the danger, but also the fact that it doesn't really happen all that often. More or less, these animals are kept in line, and it's because they're trained to do so. That's the reality that they live in. They're not living the reality that, but wait a minute, I'm a predator. These squishy things shouldn't have that much power over me. It's rare that you get the one that go, what the fuck? And they, react naturally. Because animals can be trained. We're animals. I know it's not something that we like to admit, but we are. We are animals. I don't care what religion you might want to cling to or what new form of philosophy you happen to be following, but you're an animal. Okay? Live with that fact. The sooner you live with it, the better. Humans are animals, and all animals can be trained. It just so happens that our form of training is called civilization. It's called education. It's called culture. And whatever these things happen to set up as our reality, that's what we're going to go along with, even if that training ends up being harmful for us in the long run. And right now, there are a lot of people holding on to a reality that is very harmful to them, whether they realize it or not. They will argue tooth and claw for it, because that's how they're trained. And it's pretty hard to go against training, especially when it's very well ingrained. The more ingrained it is, and the more it seems to be working for you, the harder it's going to be to let go, especially when you recognize what could happen if you do let go of that programming. Let's go back to the Israeli situation. What's going to happen if all those people decide to reject the policies that they've pretty much been following for the past how many years now? I mean, sure, there is a chance that there finally will be some peace, but you're still going to have to deal with, okay, there's going to have to be some consequences for all these years of denying them, basic things like electricity and water and just basic human rights in general. There's got to be some kind of recompense for that. People don't want to deal with that. You're going to have to deal with, they're already dealing with, the violent reactions against them for what they do, which is what you would expect if you mistreat a group of people for a long period of time, for whatever reason. There's going to be animosity. You're going to have to deal with that. That's too uncomfortable to deal with. Fuck that, no. What are you going to do about all the land that's been taken? Some of that stuff's going to have to be given back. And that's the other thing. When you're trying to fix a situation and it's obvious that one side is taking more than the other, that means stuff has to go back. And no matter how much, how righteous the notion is that, we got to balance the scales here. People hate losing things, even when it's something that they aren't supposed to have. It's a general human thing. This weird aversion to loss. You may have, you're sitting down, everyone's at the table eating, and you happen to grab extra pieces of turkey off the thing, and then other people need their turkey. Hey, you took too much. You got to put some back. Never mind, because I know you have it already on your plate. People start looking at it. I don't want to get into that, but you know what I mean. Like, you take it a little bit too much. Hey, they got to eat over there. Stop grabbing. And now you get that slight, almost empty feeling in your stomach from the food that you thought you were about to eat that's going elsewhere. You got that fear of losing things. Like, no, what the... Fighting games. I'm going all over the place to try to come up with an example, but fighting games, when you have a bunch of different characters and you're trying to balance out the roster so that every character has an equal chance to win the match, some characters end up being a bit more overpowered than others. And then that's when you have to deal with the whole, are we going to buff certain characters or are we going to nerf certain characters? And people hate nerfs, even if they're necessary. You know, one character clearly has an advantage over all the others. So the developers go in, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to take this particular feature or this particular thing that makes them overpowered, we're going to take that away to balance things out. And then the people who like playing as that character, they don't see it as, yeah, that does make things more fair. No, they see it as, what the, but no, he was cool before. No, I can't, what the fuck? Because people hate losing things, even if overall it's going to make things better for everybody else. And that's sort of the same thing that we're seeing here with the Israeli situation. With almost any human rights situation, you're going to have people who are averse to loss, even if they either aren't losing anything or what they're losing is something that should be taken away in the long run because it's better overall for everybody else. And usually, like, to go back to the fighting game analogy, it turns out that what they lost, again, is not really that much of a loss because they're still going to be able to participate easily. They just won't be able to dominate over other people unfairly. And that's the key thing here, unfairly. But again, we don't like loss. And if the culture we're living happens to benefit from that and we're well ingrained in that culture, i.e. if we're well trained to accept that form of reality, we're not going to want to let it go. So when I then hear people go, oh, well, one day people will wake up to the truth. No, they're not. It's going to take something extreme to get a large group of people to accept reality. The few people who can do that were those that were able to, question their programming to begin with, and that's not that many people. Just like there aren't that many animals that suddenly go, what the hell? Law of the jungle in the circus. Again, I'm not saying this to try to dampen people's hopes when trying to fix certain situations or trying to fight against certain, social problems. I'm just saying that, ironically, you're going to have to face reality. It's one thing to try to go into a battle feeling hopeful. It's another thing going into the battle recognizing your odds. I put my money on the people who are able to recognize their odds and then come up with a plan to deal with what's in front of them. Don't know if this video is going to be any good because it's kind of impromptu and I didn't have notes, but as soon as I saw that, I felt like that I had to get that off my chest. So, hope you're able to get something out of it. Catch you guys later.